Tonight, we're having a chat with Tony, Jenkins and Boudicca Rising from SNARL. They're trying to catch the Croydon cat killer, the M25 cat killer. Tony and Boudicca are in the studio with me here now. As some people know, but not everyone, over 500 animal victims have been included in the investigation. Came as a huge shock to everyone involved when the police recently announced that they had concluded that the vicious mutilation of the pet cats, and rabbits and wild foxes had been down to predation by the foxes. So they're closing the case. Tony, why have the police closed the case? Public don't seem to agree with the police decision on this.
Hello, Peter. No, it came a bit of a shock to us, but the evidence that was presented to me by the Met Police when I was called into the Croydon Police Station was that a number of bodies had been sent up to the Royal Veterinary College by Hertfordshire Police, and each of those bodies had evidence of fox DNA on the bodies. They also said that some of the original post-mortems carried out by the RSPCA had been revisited, and 6 of them they found puncture wounds, which suggested that they may have also been predated by foxes. As far as we're concerned, the investigation goes on because one of the things that the police also said is that there wasn't any very clear evidence of human interaction. The only bits of video or CCTV that had been recovered showed foxes moving the bodies, or in one case dropping a head onto some school grounds. So they said there's a complete lack of any actual real proof of human interaction, and therefore they've concluded that the victims have been probably killed by cars and then predated on by foxes. It's about as useful as a chocolate fire guard.
Yes. I mean, the police, there's been over 500 cases and the police pick 6 randomly, I'm hoping. But yeah.
Yeah.
What happens next, Boudicca? Without the police support, obviously.
The investigation continues. We've been working with a forensic CCTV company for a little while quietly. They've officially joined us. We've been speaking to a geoprofiler. We have lots and lots of offers of help from ex-police officers. We have lots and lots of offers of help from current police officers who couldn't believe the Met's decision, particularly those who've attended scenes with us. And obviously the owners who've been told by the police about signature injuries and things like that and had some inside information, or basically turned around and said, this is rubbish, this is not foxes. And there's been a really good amount of support. So we took a decision as a team to continue the investigation. We're gathering ourselves now at the moment because we've got a lot of mobilisation to do. So the next couple of weeks is going to be all about that mobilisation and how we take it forward. But what we're hoping is that by the end of that 2-week period, we will be able to do everything the police can do apart from make an arrest.
Yes.
The police have said to us quite clearly that if we can bring them evidence of human intervention, bring them a suspect, that they will take it forward. So it's not like they're going to ignore it. Just that they need that in order to reopen the case. We're not pressing for the case to be reopened at this stage. We're happy to go away and do the hard work and prove it and get the suspect or suspects.
Well, it sounds good that everyone's coming forward,
it's been amazing.
To yourself,
it's been absolutely amazing. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, no, it's great that everyone has shown support. I know it's hard. I do help with leafleting and various things. There's no pattern, is there, to the murders? What sort of areas?
What's interesting, the majority of killings do appear to be within the M25. Hotspots include Croydon, Caterham. We've had a number in Caterham, obviously, as you're aware, Bromley, Orpington, with stretches down to the south coast, Portsmouth, along to Brighton, Worthing, along to Hastings. We've had killings in across Kent, including Folkestone, Dover, right up to Dartford and into Essex, right across North London. We've had occasional ones up north as far as Manchester and Birmingham, and some around the Wirral area near Liverpool. They tend to be quite rare. What we haven't had, and if this was down to foxes, Why is it we've not had any killings north of Manchester, Northumbria or Scotland? We've had nothing in Wales, nothing in Devon and Cornwall, nothing in East Anglia.
Yeah, I suppose if it was down to foxes, all the foxes all over the country
Exactly.
would be doing the same
And all
thing.
of those places have got
yeah.
cat populations, urban fox populations, and cars that can kill cats on the road. And we've not had a single report in any of those areas.
Yeah.
So it's mainly southeast. You imagine a lot of jobs, people, their region is the southeast, and that by and large is the area. That's what we're not getting the West Country or Wales, and the occasional trip up north, which could be unrelated to a job.
A job or family, or he's gone for the weekend, or something along them lines, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you decide? I mean, obviously, Tony Boudicca, you go to a lot of cases. How do you decide whether the victim, whether it be a cat, fox, or rabbit, is actually in the case or is not in the case?
We've got a 26-point list of things that we noticed earlier on in the case.
Yeah.
And it was an 8-point list when we started. And then once the pathologist had done the original post-mortems and was able to tell us how he was mutilating the animals, and particularly how he was holding them, etc., we added to that list. We rule anything in that we have that is a match to other injuries, and that is also has a signature on it. And he does have a number of behavioural signatures as well as physical signatures.
Okay.
So that's how we rule in. We don't. If an animal is predated on and has very clean-cut injuries, we mark it as a possible, but that can get confusing. So we're quite structured about the way we do it, and we're quite strict.
Yeah.
And as a result, we've ruled out 1,500 cases over the last 3 years that we either weren't entirely sure of, or that were RTAs with fox predation.
Right. Yeah.
Been
Okay.
to a lot of
1,500.
those.
That's a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot.
That is a lot.
One of the things we look for in the victims is when cats get killed on the road, obviously their claws get scuffed.
They do, yeah.
And I would say 99% of the victims have had no sign of scuffing on the claws.
All claws
and
present.
some of them have been far away from the road, so virtually impossible to be killed by a car.
Yeah.
Clive, the rabbit in Hastings, St Leonard's, there's no way a car got anywhere near him.
No.
And most of the rabbit victims actually are taken out of hutches in gardens, and therefore not cars unless someone's got a flying car.
Yeah. I mean,
A
obviously,
toy car.
we're not on about just cats, are we? Well,
No.
There's rabbits, there's foxes. We've had a deer, I think.
We didn't rule the deer in.
Oh, we didn't.
No,
Sorry.
no, that's all right. The reason for that, so it was of interest to us because the wounds were similar,
Yeah.
but we couldn't make a distinction between a poaching incident
Okay.
and a UK cat killer incident. So
Right, yeah.
we've noted it and we logged it, but we couldn't say for certain it was the same.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a deer's head though left in a garden in Warlingham next to the kiddies' trampoline, which we think is definitely it's a classic sort of drop-off display to horrify both the children and the adults.
But we had to look at about I think 5 or 6 deer now, haven't we? Yeah.
So, in the world we live in, they say that if you get a train into London, you can be caught on CCTV 300 times a day. Our offender, we'll call him the offender, I can't swear on live radio. Our offender seems to dodge the CCTV. Now, I know it's difficult. I know a bit about, I know a chap can't just look at a CCTV recording 8 hours a day, but he seems to avoid the CCTV.
Right, one of the problems we've got with CCTV is you say we've got the most CCTV perhaps in the world.
Yeah.
But it's only city centre locations.
It is, yeah.
When you actually go out into residential areas, there's actually very little. If you go down an average road, you might find one house that's
Most
or
of
two
it
houses.
is private on a private house, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of burglar alarms and security lights, but very few cameras. If there are cameras, often they're pointing at the posh car on the drive.
They're not in the back garden.
And the
They're not in
law,
the back
the law
garden.
is you're not supposed to scope beyond your
Beyond
own
your
property.
own drive, yeah.
So
the gateway.
even where there is cameras, you could walk past a camera and not actually be seen on it.
Yeah.
And it's quite simple. I guess like a burglar, if you're scouting to do a burglary, you see cameras, you just walk on to the next place.
And most of the offences, I think, happen at night. Is that correct?
That is
Most of them,
correct.
yeah.
So I suppose the CCTV camera is not the best at night. Most people, I won't say that. Some people have got a cheaper CCTV system than
Yeah.
the next man, and they just won't pick up the quality at night, will they?
And some of the cameras are actually dummy cameers.
Yeah, there are. Yeah.
We found a lot of dummy cameras.
A couple of times I've got all excited and, oh, sorry, it's a dummy.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're going to take a break. That long song. I've got Boudicca Rising and Tony Jenkins from SNARL. And we're having a good old chat here, aren't we?
We are indeed.
We are indeed. Right. Some more questions we've got coming. Obviously, the Met have closed Operation Takahe, the case, to try and find the Croydon cat killer, we call him. Has the rate of murders gone down since the Met Police's announcement?
We have noticed a change. I don't really want to go into the change, but we've noticed a couple of changes of behaviour. We're hoping that we still get the same number of reports as we did previously, because a certain number of those did come through the police. And obviously the police are now telling people it's foxes. However, we've had some out of area ones, and we seem to still be getting the reports of those through, which is encouraging.
Yes.
We had one recently in Sutton, and a police officer actually rang me because he'd been called out, and he said, well, I'll probably get into trouble for this, but we've been told that the case is closed. We've got no instructions as to what to do to carry these forward, but I've been to one of these before, and this is definitely a victim.
Oh, wow, and he called you. That's good.
Yeah. I suspect once instructions are sent out to police officers, that may change.
Yeah, but I suppose a lot of police officers, I know the Met Police have closed the case, and I don't want to get in trouble here, but a lot of people have got common sense, haven't they?
Yeah.
You know?
And a lot of police officers have attended scenes with us have got common sense too.
Yeah.
And scenes of crime. We've heard of a lot of people who, hi, I'm ringing because I attended the scene with you 2 years ago, and there was an obvious stab wound on the body, and I'm a forensic person. I can't believe what's happened.
Yeah.
To the more succinct text I got, which was basically from another serving police officer, what are the Met doing? What are the Met doing? There's been quite a lot of outrage. And, we won't criticise the police. We think they did a fantastic job.
At all, no.
An absolutely fantastic job. It is a difficult case. It really is. And we've had some outstanding police support. DS Colin was fantastic. He got it. The police officers who worked the tail end of the case were still good. I think we all wanted to solve this. The police have taken a decision based on some of the evidence. We don't believe they're taken all into account, but that doesn't mean that we don't value their input.
No.
We did have outstanding police support, and in those areas we have noticed obvious human interventions with returns of collars, returns of body parts 6 months later. Foxes do not have fridges; they don't have freezers.
No, and they don't carry knives.
They don't carry knives. But more importantly for us, the reason why we because we're not forensic pathologists, the reason why we decided as a team to continue was those returns. It was the collar returns. It was the fact that poor lady in Watford had her rabbit's head returned 6 months later, pristine, as if it had just happened.
Pristine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
These things were a matter of official record. It's not just us saying that. And I'll be careful here, but a matter of official record. So for
the police knew about it. Basically.
Yeah. So for us, we still have a person or persons to find.
Yeah.
And it's just how we do that.
Great. How can the public help you now? I mean, the Met finished. You'd get a call, or the police get a call early hours of the morning, mid-afternoon, late evening, whatever, and they'd say, "Oh, can you come out, please? There's an animal. Something's happened. It's in my garden." The police would call you. How can the public help you now that the police, even though they're probably still on your side, but how can the public help you in general?
I think that there's two aspects to this. Social media goes a long way.
It does, yeah.
And in fact, the case that Tony attended today was one that was put on social media, and we found out about it because of social media. We wouldn't have found out about it any other way, because the lady rang the police. I don't think she's had a response. But what's interesting is that people, even if they don't have direct experience of us, know about us, and they will say, "Ring SNARL. Here's the page. Here's the Facebook page," or "I think the number's in the paper." Google, but that they will come. And obviously, we then go through a process of what are the injuries, what are the circumstances, etc. But we're still getting a regular number of calls, both false alarms and actual incidents. So the biggest thing that people can do is help spread the word to say the guy or guys are still out there, they're still killing. We're going through a process at the moment of redoing all our leaflets. So up until 3 weeks ago, we had delivered about 500,000 leaflets across attack areas. We've got a group of people, about 1,100 people, who go out to scenes to deliver leaflets. We've had people in wheelchairs doing it, people with fibromyalgia doing it, people on crutches. We've had a couple of broken bones as a result of leafleting. We've actually got a funny leafleteers thread about all the funny things that have happened. It's, people being knocked by dogs and walking into empty houses where the door had been left open and all sorts of things.
Vicious letterboxes.
Vicious letterboxes.
Vicious letterboxes, yeah.
And cats or dogs.
I've heard a lot of I've heard a lot of stories about letterboxes.
Yeah, letterboxes, batty letterboxes are a theme. But they've been those leafleteers have gone out in snow, in rain, in high winds, and delivered leaflets for us. And we couldn't have got as far as we have done without them.
No.
So a big shout out to our leafleteers group. But if people are able to do that once we've got all our leaflets sorted again and we're happy with the wording, that is somewhere where people can help. There's a physical help to us.
So that's on Facebook. They can just go on Facebook, look up
and
leafleteers,
look up leafleteers and apply. We do vet people, so there is a waiting period, and obviously if the waiting period is too much, then just message the main page and we'll have a look at it.
Well, that's good.
The other thing people can do if they're physically incapable of leafleting or they can't because of time period is share our posts on Facebook. Not every attack makes it. We don't, for operational reasons, there's some attacks we don't publicise. Some attacks we do, particularly if the rabbit's unidentified, we need to identify it. But yes, for operational reasons we sit on, but the posts are important. We don't post willy-nilly. It's quite unusual for me.
I suppose you've got, I'll call them the parents, the people that own the cat or the rabbit. Sometimes they just don't want it being made public.
No, absolutely. There's a lot of fear around this, particularly if they've got young children in the house, they've got other animals. We are very careful about data protection. Our data protection guidelines are actually more stringent than the police. The police would release road names. We didn't. We never would, because there's also, unfortunately, a number of trolls. There are people who will knock on people's doors and tell them that we've made it all up.
And the local press, of course.
The local press, Although they've got better over the years. I mean, I still we had a call from a lady who actually we found out about it because the incident was reported in the local press. And a really unscrupulous reporter went back 2 days later and tried to take photos of her grieving children through the front room window.
Wow.
And she rang me, and I basically rang the neighbour who was trying to fend him off, and I said, give him the phone, and I said, you've got 30 seconds to get out of there.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're going to get arrested. And he scarpered. And we also have the UFO conspiracy theorists who are really good at tracking people down. A gentleman in Aylesbury was it's a bit like God bothering, but UFO bothering.
Okay. I haven't heard this one before.
And they will doorstep and say, hi, I'm so-and-so, and have you heard about this work and that work done? And don't get me wrong, we've had a long chat. There's a lady called Linda in the States who's done a lot of research into animal mutilations. But they're a very particular type. They're not a match for ours. And there's something that distinguishes them completely. And we did, we in the early days, we looked at everything. I never thought it was little green men. But I thought it was worth seeing what they'd done and how they'd investigated. And I think they're probably sitting on a couple of animal serial killers as a result. But that's the conclusions they've drawn. They don't blame it on foxes. But these people can be quite persistent. The people who hang around the edges of those groups can be quite persistent. And they've upset a few owners. So we are very careful about what is publicised.
Yeah.
And obviously the whole...
And you have to be, I think.
Absolutely.
You have to take, the owners of the pet into account.
They are a primary concern, apart from catching the offender or offenders. Because they are the ones who are left bereft. The cat or rabbit is dead. There's not much more we can do for them apart from catch the offender. We can't bring them back as much as I'd like to. I would have loved to have caught this guy 2 years ago so that I'm not sitting in front of an owner and Tony's not sitting in front of an owner and we feel a level of guilt that we haven't caught him.
Yeah.
You know, it can be quite distressing, but the owners are our primary concern, particularly if there's other animals in the house, if there's children, if they're, you know, women on their own, etc.
Yeah. How can the public? You're looking for volunteers at the minute, aren't you? Anyone that wants to volunteer. We spoke about leafleting, you know, and other things. They can contact you on Facebook.
Absolutely. We're also specifically looking for people who are ex-services, so ex-police, ex-army, and ex-scenes of crime people.
Right.
We're gathering together a group of volunteers to do some very targeted stuff that I'm not going to disclose.
No.
But we need specific skills that we can't get from a member of the public necessarily. So anybody who's interested in doing that, again, there'll be a vetting process.
Yeah.
We'll need to understand the service history. That sounds like a car, doesn't it? But you know, where they were,
MOT.
where they're served, or the police station they
But
were at.
You've had a bit of a small push already, a bit of a flow.
We
of,
have,
people volunteering.
Well,
their services.
one of the positives about the police moving away from the investigation is we can now take up a lot of support that we couldn't before.
Yeah.
Before it was police investigation. Police said, no, please don't do this, or please don't do that. Please don't take up that offer of help because we're covering it, or no, that one, you know, no, we can't. That's going to be a conflict, etc. So we've been able to get investigative resource on board that we haven't had before, and we can now attract a skill set we haven't been able to before.
Yeah.
And it's basically people refer to it as the SNARL army, but it's kind of heading that way. It's a bit weird. But that is, I think, the solution to this is to get the skills we need so that we're not reliant on the police for anything.
No.
Yeah.
One of the things that the general public can do is to remain vigilant.
Yes,
you know, this
definitely.
person is stalking about, usually at night. Obviously, grab and hold the cat. So I'd ask any member of the public, whether they're a cat owner or not, if they see anybody acting strangely around a cat or trying to grab or abduct a cat, then that should still be a call to the police, but also to call us.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it may be someone innocent.
It may
But,
be, yeah.
you know...
You never know.
You never know.
And also, I mean, in today's day and age, you know, I don't want to... everyone's got smartphones. I'll call them smartphones.
Yeah.
You can take a photo in, like, you know, get your phone out, bang, bang.
exactly.
Some people are 2
Although
seconds.
we wouldn't recommend anyone approach a person.
No, not
because
to
if it is
approach
the
them.
killer,
But if they see him
then
from a distance or
he's
out a
got a knife
window,
and,
they're looking through a
you know.
bedroom window, they can easily take a photograph.
Registration numbers are really important. People forget to take registration numbers.
It was a red Ford.
Yeah, it was a white Ford. Well, I think it was a Ford. Well, not sure. Or we had a canopy in the back. No, I'm not sure. Registration numbers.
Because if they get, you know, any of the registration helps, doesn't it? They
It
don't,
does.
you know.
We've got a list that we keep of people and registers around, you know, if we can link 2 or 3 of those registers to 2 or 3 incidents, one register, 2 or 3 incidents, then we've got a potential lead.
Okay.
So it's really important.
So be vigilant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. How has this case affected your day-to-day lives since you started? Is it October 15? You know, you started out and it was all calm. We're now in October 2018, 3 years later.
I can't. We were actually chatting about this the other day. Because we go through stages where we would quite happily, I think 3 years ago, if we'd known what this was going to turn out like and how our lives had been affected, we probably would have been tempted to swerve it. But actually, day to day, no. Because this would have gone on. It would have gone on and on and on and on and on. And somebody has got to put a stop to it sometime.
Yeah. I mean, my life has changed completely. It was often, I don't know, I might try and make some plans. Like this afternoon, we had a meeting at lunchtime. I thought, I'll go and do a bit of cleaning. And I get a call, and next thing I know, I'm driving halfway across London. And that's quite typical in my life. I mean, Boudicca obviously still got a full-time job that she's managed to keep. And
Just about
juggles
probably.
around.
Yeah, no, my employer's been fantastic.
Very good boss.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Okay, listen, we're going to play another song. It's 20 Hazard, right, back in the room with Tony and Boudicca. We're nearly done here tonight. One good question. Do you think, Tony, it's one person or a group of people? I know people have said to me, it can't be one man, it can't be one person, you know, that they're all over the place. But what's your opinion? What's the professional opinion?
Do you know what, Peter? If I had a tenner for every time I've been asked that question, I could retire. It's a very good question, a very valid question. What I see more of the bodies than Boudicca is very consistent injuries across them, some of them signature, which in my mind, and the police when they were looking at it, would probably rule out the idea of a copycat.
Yeah.
Also, the journeys, the geographical areas and the attacks and the way they happen, whilst being on a fairly wide geographical area, they're all doable by one person who's got a job that causes them to travel. For example, from Croydon to Portsmouth is 2 hours. It's not a huge leap.
It's not.
When we've had the ones up north, typically in Manchester, Birmingham and the Liverpool area, we've not had anything down in London on those days.
Right, yeah.
Which again suggests one person travelling about. However, common sense would say that we can't rule out the possibility of joint venture, let's say, a couple of people or a small group of people who've shared notes or exchanged images or even met and, shown each other what they do. If that is the case, then it would appear that they are deliberately coordinating attacks in order to make it look like one person. If we had one in Birmingham and one in Brighton, you'd think, oh, hang on a minute.
On the same night.
Yeah. Both quite fresh kills.
Yeah.
Pardon the phrase. And early on, because this question is always asked, the investigation team, which obviously was the police, ourselves and the RSPCA, we all took the view that it would actually be irresponsible to suggest that it was a group of people, unless we actually had any firm evidence of such. And at present, we don't. We'd like to think it's just one person when we catch him at the law end.
Yeah.
And my view is let's catch the first person, and if killings continue, or there may be evidence once his phone and IT equipment are seized that may show links to other people doing it. In the same way as when you get your paedophile rings, for example, you catch one, and that leads you to the others.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah. Right, okay. Listen, thank you both for coming in.
Thanks for having us, Peter.
I've just got one last thing. How can people, like all the listeners here tonight, how can they donate? Because you're obviously self-funded.
We're self-funded and funded by a small number of people who donate sort of, £5 and £10 a month, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
But I'm coming to the end of the point where I can continue to fund this because a lot of the funding comes out my salary, and we're now going to move towards to become a charity.
Oh, that's good. That's great news.
We are registering as a charity.
Because I can't physically sustain it, and I can't work any more hours than I currently do. So once that occurs, I think we will be obviously going out and saying, right, we're now a charity. Please, we need your donations, and we'll be very specific again about what we need. We're going to need money for forensics. We're going to need money for people's petrol potentially. We're going to need if teams are going to scenes. We're going to need money for evidence bags, for instance. I've just spent £100 on evidence bags. There's all that kind of incidental stuff that goes on as well as the day-to-day running of the rescue. So that's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. If people are happy to donate to us now, they're welcome to, and it's obviously via www.snarl.org.uk, and there's a function on there.
snarl.org.uk. You listening? Donate, people, please. Donate tonight.
One of the positive things about actually registering as a charity, apart from the obvious paperwork, etc., and formality, is that we can, for example, claim gift aid.
Yes.
And also, I believe, because a lot of the payments from the current donate button come through PayPal, they take a small fee.
Their 1.5%.
Yeah, if we're a registered charity, it's free.
It's free, that's right.
We've been having this discussion for the last 3 years about the benefits of or the benefits not of, and the issue we had is that even you can set up a charity with a PO box, but there has to be a physical address attached to it. And obviously we can't, it was the police said to us early on, don't do that because we didn't expect to still be here for 3 years later, but because you're already in the public domain, you could be a target, and you've got animals in both your homes. Because we're now a broader team, we can now lodge an address that doesn't have animals at the property necessarily, and that where people are home, etc. So there's going to be a team running the charity. It's not going to just be the Tony and Boudicca show. It's interesting, actually, in a meeting we had today that I can't go into, I said it's for a long time we've kept it in the public eye as the Tony and Boudicca show because it was worthwhile to do that.
Yeah.
And to appear slightly amateurish. But it doesn't really help us now, particularly when we're looking at the skill set we're trying to attract to the team. And we haven't been the amateur Tony and Boudicca show for at least a year now.
No.
Have we? No.
You haven't been for 3 years, I don't think.
No, well, I couldn't possibly comment.
Listen, I wish you both well. Please, people, www.snarl.org.uk. Donate tonight if you can. Every little helps. £5, £10. You're not going to miss a fiver in your pocket. Donate tonight. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Boudicca. Thank you both
Thank
for
you,
coming
Peter.
in. I'm going to play out with The Last Time My Heart Was Alive. This song is by Rob and his band. I've forgotten his band.
Don't forget the...
Don't wake the line.
line.
Don't wake the line. Now, this is on iTunes. You can download this song from your phone, I believe, on iTunes, and
or Amazon.
And 49p of that fee goes straight to SNARL. So you can download that as well tonight. Every little helps, people. Thank you for listening. We'll have another couple of songs. I'm here till 9. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Boudicca.
And if I close my eyes, I still see you. And if I close my eyes, I still feel you. And if I close my eyes, I'm still with you. But when I open my eyes, you are gone. And if I close my eyes, I still see you in dreams. And if I close my eyes, I still kiss you, it seems. And if I close my eyes, I see your smiling gleams. And when I open my eyes, you are gone. The last time my heart was alive, you said goodbye. The last time my heart was alive, it was crying. The last time my heart was alive, it was sighing. The last time my heart was alive, it was dying. And if I close my eyes, I still see the wind in your hair. And if I close my eyes, I still dream you care. And if I close my eyes, we both choose to dare. But when I open my eyes, you are gone. The last time my heart was alive, you said goodbye.
was Rob there. Don't Wake the Lion with his song "The Last Time My Heart Was Alive." Don't forget, download that from iTunes, Amazon. A donation goes to SNARL. Please, everyone, get on your phones tonight. Donate a £5. It's nothing. Also, what we didn't mention, please keep your cats in at night. I know it's not easy. I've got a friend of mine, the cat's climbing the walls. Please, just keep your cats in at night. It's dark at 6 o'clock. I know it's dark early, and it's still dark at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, but just try and keep them in under the hours of darkness.